Hi guys, I've got another fun layout for you today as part of the Pink Paislee design team, and today I am going to create a layout with these three really cute photos of Jack. Last time he was here we took a lot of selfies, me and Jack. He loves the screen, I will say, so I can see there being quite a few selfies in our future. Before printing, I changed those photos to black and white because I knew that I wanted to make a sort of rainbow layout for these photos. And I have gone ahead and picked out, what have I got here? I've got 6 different pastel-y colored papers from the Whimsical line. I created sort of a rainbow of them, but I wanted to keep this rainbow a bit more on the pastel-y kind of baby side of things. Now I've also gone ahead and set up a cut file in my Silhouette software to create a whole bunch of different scallops, which is why I am cutting all of these papers down into little strips, because I'm going to run each one of these strips through my Silhouette machine to create a bunch of different scalloped pieces that I can layer up my page. So you can see here, I just created these scallops myself in the Silhouette software. If you don't have a Silhouette, you could very easily replicate the same thing using border punches. In fact, I've got a couple of border punches that would have done just as good a job, I think, here. Now, because I was still using my older portrait, it didn't quite cut the 12 inches, so I did have to do a little bit of trimming with my scissors, but eventually I got all 5 pieces trimmed out and I can start layering them onto my page. Now, I was being a tiny bit thrifty with these strips of paper. You could very easily have just cut the top off each piece of paper and layered them up that way, but I didn't want to waste all that paper being layered up underneath each other. So I am going to have to do a tiny bit of measuring to work out where each of these strips is going to sit on the page so that it covers up the one underneath it but doesn't take up the whole piece of paper. So you can see here, I'm going to start from the top, and I've just stuck my first strip down a little bit from the top there. I did create a wee pencil mark that I covered up, and as I'm gluing down each strip, and you can see I've changed my mind here, I'm going to start from the bottom just to make things slightly easier, because starting from the top meant that I was going to end up covering up my pencil marks, so it didn't work particularly well. It took me a while to get this all sorted out, but as I'm placing each strip, I'm just sort of tucking it underneath the one in front of it and putting those in a rainbow order up the page. So it's going from yellow, green, blue, sort of a teal-y colour, and then purple and pink at the top. I was sticking them down and I felt like they were just a little bit flat. They weren't standing out from each other quite as much as I wanted it to, and that's probably to do with the fact that it's a really light colour palette, those really pastel-y sort of baby colours, so they didn't stand out a lot. I sort of roughed them up with my fingers to give them a little bit of texture, and it wasn't quite what I was after, so I then grabbed a pair of scissors and just roughed up the edges with the blade of the scissors, and it was time consuming, I'll tell you, because of the scallops, but actually that gave me the texture that I was after. It almost gives them like an outline, each of the little scallops. They just stood out so much better, so I was so pleased with that. Now I'm gonna put all 3 photos on this page. I don't often do multiple photos on my layouts, but with those 3 cute little faces, I could not decide which photo to use, so I'm going to use all 3 of them. I'm just tucking them under some random scallops. I'm putting one sort of towards the left at the bottom and 2 kind of more clustered towards the top there. That was the reason that I only glued those strips on sort of 3 sides as I was sticking them down, and then I can go ahead and add a bit more adhesive in those places where I needed to. Now for my title, I've used my favourite little colourful alphas, foam alphas from Pink Paislee, and I did spend a considerable amount of time trying to spell out my title, which is Snuggle, Selfies, in a rainbow order. Now I'm lucky, I've got more than one sheet of these alphas. In fact, I've got several, so I could pick and choose and get the best rainbow arrangement of letters that I could to spell out Snuggle Selfies in rainbow order. And I'm so pleased with how that looks. I just want everything on this page to be rainbow. Rainbow and Jack, two things I love a lot, so that worked out really nicely. And now all I've got left to do really is just embellish this page. Before I start the embellishment, I decided to add just a few lines of journaling, not a lot. I don't want it to be the main focus of this page because really there's no super huge story here. It's just me and my favorite little buddy taking selfies. So I added a couple of lines of journaling, and I did that on with a teal colored pen too, because I didn't want it to again take up too much emphasis on the page. So everything I'm going to do on this page is, well, I'm going to attempt to do everything on this page tone on tone. So I figured that the journaling was no different. That should be tone on tone as well. So basically now you're just going to watch me sorting out embellishments into color order for way longer than I thought it would take, to be honest. I'm going to start with these like die cut ephemera pieces, and then I'm going to move on to florals, and it all starts to look a little bit busy, and I get that that's sort of the point with some of these pages, but it's just not my style. I don't think. I prefer things a little bit more on the simpler side. So I'd picked out the clouds, the butterflies, and a few little animals, and here I go with the florals, adding those in, thinking that that would just fill in some of these gaps, and there were plenty of nice colors to match the tone on toneness, and it just sort of loses the plot to my eye. So I just start peeling back some of those things. I do like the little animals. I like the little fox. It sort of matches the kind of baby theme of the page. Obviously this line isn't it isn't developed to be a baby theme, but I think you really can find elements in just about any collection really to create a baby page. But what I really liked was the butterflies and the clouds. The scalloped pieces already sort of looked like clouds. I know they're rainbow colored, but they had that cloudy theme to me. And so then I went with clouds and the butterflies because they may well be flying in the sky. I had to add that little fox because it is so cute, and the tail hang down so nicely next to my title. So I did add that, and a couple of those little, not florals, I guess they're sort of leafy pieces instead. But I do edit out a few things as I'm going and decide to stick to more of a theme rather than having the theme be sort of tone on tone color. I'm going to make the theme be more sort of clouds and butterflies. Apart from that one little cluster by the end of my title, which is definitely going to end up being more land-based with the fox and the plants, but I think that kind of works too. The rest of it is sort of sky, and this is the ground to ground it in. So I've gone through the sticker, just the cardboard stickers as well, and now I'm adding a few chipboard stickers because there are plenty of these chipboard clouds still on there. Just keeping them again tone on tone and sprinkling them throughout the page. Now I didn't have many butterfly stickers left, so I've added one little, it kind of looks like a dragonfly to be honest, rather than a butterfly, but I did have almost a whole packet of charms left. These are the little butterfly charms. I never really know how to use them on a layout, but they seemed to work with the theme here. So I pulled off the couple that were going to match the colors. I think I end up with 3 here. And they just kind of add a different sort of texture. They're very shiny and sparkly, and I really like them. Now it was feeling a little bit empty as far as embellishments go. You know, you get that point where it's either minimal embellishments or over the top embellishments, and this was just somewhere in the middle. So I decided to fill in a few of those visual gaps with some of the little enamel dots, and I am just using the dots on the sheet. There are butterflies on here as well, but I'm just sticking with those little dots and trying to keep it again with the tone on tone, but it just adds a little bit of something extra without being too over the top. Now I wasn't entirely sure how I was going to stick these butterflies on, so I've used some glue dots and I'll hope that that sticks them down enough, and then call this layout totally done. I really love how this turned out. It was how I imagined it in my head. I love that there's 3 photos on there. I get all of those cute little selfies. It's totally full of rainbows, full of clouds, and just couldn't be more perfect for my little buddy. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you want to keep watching, check out my Patreon page because there's even more videos over there. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye guys.